Recently, the UFC delivered one of its finest products yet, with an all-time battle during UFC 275. In today's video, we're going to be going over the Hall of Fame no-brainer and what it meant for the fighters and the sport. So sit back and relax, because this is a video that no UFC fan will want to miss. First up, from champ to retirement in one brutal second. UFC 275 took place in Singapore on June 12, 2022, and wow, was it ever an event for the record books. With two amazing female fights prior to the main card, the night had no shortage of entertainment. However, the main card battle was an easy Hall of Fame fight that will be talked about for a long time. Former UFC heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira was defeated by challenger Jiri Prochazka in what will go down as one of the best heavyweight tilts to ever happen in the UFC. Glover Teixeira held the title for quite some time and finally had it taken from him from a much younger contender, as Teixeira has recently reached the 42nd year of his life, labeling him past his prime to put it lightly. However, that did not stop him from delivering some lightning blows and some elite grappling skill. However, despite his age, he has decided that he is not quite done fighting just yet. But in the co-main event that saw former champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk get absolutely stomped by challenger Weili Zhang, but in a surprise turn of events, Joanna decided to call it quits on her career following the brutal loss. The first round was a slugfest that did not go Joanna's way, and she took a beating, but ultimately survived the first round. However, Zhang was too much to handle in the second round as she delivered a spinning back fist that knocked the Polish slugger clean out, sending her face first down to the mat. During the winner announcement, Joanna surprised the entire arena and the world by officially announcing that this would be her last pro fight of her career. This is an unfortunate way to end a career as great as hers, but I understand her decision. She is getting older, her competition is getting better, and the sport is evolving at a faster pace than she can keep up with. However, during her prime, she was an elite fighter in the UFC and will be remembered as a formidable warrior who worked her entire life to have a career as good as hers. Next up, a fight to remember. The bout between former champion Glover Teixeira and Jiri Prochazka was a fight to remember, and for good reason. If you didn't see it, I don't think it would be overselling it by saying that this was the best fight of 2022 so far, maybe even the best fight of the 2020s thus far, as it was back and forth action. Teixeira opened the bout with two amazing takedowns of Prochazka, but however, he was unable to capitalize on his takedowns and finished Prochazka off early in the fight. This was just the beginning of the amazing battle, as most viewers of the fight had already counted Prochazka out. However, he was not going down that easily. Prochazka ended up earning a takedown of his own before the first round was over and finished off the final few seconds of the first round with a series of dangerous bombs. The first round went down as a tie, if you ask most people, as both fighters were in a position of power for significant amounts of time in the first round. The second round opened with Prochazka sending a flurry of shots at Teixeira. I think if this was any other opponent in the heavyweight division, they would have been knocked out in 5 seconds flat. However, Teixeira found a way to survive the furious assault, taking every possible shot in the book. Kicks, punches, knees, elbows, pretty much every body part that can be used as an offensive weapon was fired his way, and yet his defensive prowess was clearly on display, allowing him to survive the assault. Teixeira then turned his positional and defensive ability into a counterattack that resulted in a huge cut right above Prochazka's left eye. However, Teixeira was definitely looking rough himself, as his nose was leaking like an unattended faucet. Teixeira started the third round in trouble, as he was doing everything he could to try and chase a takedown, as he knew that he had no chance when both fighters were on their feet. He had been bested when trying to compete in a slugfest against his opponent, so he knew that a takedown and submission would be his only hope of winning this bout. However, a takedown looked impossible, as Teixeira spent a great deal of time on the ground, but not in a good way. Prochazka absolutely pummeled him for the majority of the third round, with one instance looking like it was going to end the fight. Prochazka connected a swift left hook to Teixeira's face, which left his body open for a brutal follow-up body shot that forced Teixeira to buckle over in pain. It looked like it was all over for Teixeira. However, he found a way to survive it all and even ended the third round in a dominant position, as he was on top of Prochazka in an attempt to pin him to the mat prior to the bell, saving Prochazka from an embarrassing loss. It could have gone either way. The fourth round started with Teixeira earning some ground back as he quickly took down Prochazka and pinned him on the mat again. It honestly looked like Teixeira's defensive effort were going to be rewarded, and he was going to pin Prochazka to the ground and have a surprising victory on his hands. However, Prochazka narrowly avoided being pinned and responded with a flurry of fists that made it seem like he was ready to prove that he deserved to be the victor of this all-out war between these two gladiators. The fourth round continued like this, with both fighters trying to prove that they should be the winner when it is all said and done. They both exchanged heavy blows and even exchanged takedowns, as the fourth round ended being too close to call. Both of these fighters were doing everything they could to take down their opponent, while also doing all they could to survive their opponent. The advantage continued to shift all fight, as it seemed like one fighter was going to win, only then to be in a losing position the very next moment. It was an amazing fight fight that was filled with amazing talent by both combatants, as the fifth round began with an amazing show of respect from both fighters. Not only did they elect to touch gloves prior to the final round, they chose to embrace each other in the ultimate sign of respect between the two warriors who have both given it everything they had during this fight. However, they both knew that somebody had to lose, but they were going to do everything they could to ensure that it wasn't them. The round started with Teixeira slugging Prochazka with a dangerous combo that sent Prochazka to the mat. However, when Teixeira went to complete the grapple, he ended up missing his grip and slipped off of him thanks to the amount of sweat on both fighters. This turned out to be the champ's undoing, as he ended up falling to the mat, allowing for his opponent to take the upper hand in the grapple. Prochazka wasted no time and ended up getting Teixeira in a rear naked choke, which caused him to tap out, giving Prochazka the win in what was easily the most entertaining fight of the year. Now, an unfortunate loss for the former champ. If you asked anybody who watched that fight, I don't think that anyone would be truly mad at the result, as both fighters did enough to be crowned the champion at the end. However, Teixeira was the one who sent Prochazka to the mat in the first place, but was unfortunately unable to grab his opponent properly. Imagine if he did end up getting the grip that he wanted. Would he have been able to execute a grab that forced his opponent to tap out rather than him? Would we have been seeing a different result if the fight had gone to decision and the fifth round ended with Teixeira having the upper hand? Maybe, but of course we will never know, and Prochazka walked away with a victory in a fight that saw both competitors giving it their all. In the post-fight interviews, Teixeira said that he had no plans to retire despite being 42 years old, and he asked the crowd if he looked 42 out there, because he certainly didn't feel 42. Both fighters had nothing but good things to say about the other, saying that they fought well and that they respected the other immensely. Both fighters knew that the fight could have gone either way, making this victory all the more special for Prochazka. His record improved to 29-3-1, and he is now the 15th heavyweight champion in UFC history and the first heavyweight champion from the Czech Republic. Much like this fight, Prochazka made history both for himself and his country. That's all we have for you guys today on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you all in the next one.